This webinar is going to be 1 hour long with a Q&A session and some practical exercise. We may run over a bit to make sure all your questions are answered. And basically, what we are going to discuss today is how social media today become the world's largest source of data, and we'll talk about the implications on this development. We'll show you some of out-of-the-box, non-standard ways how companies use social media data to give you a sense of the scale and unbelievably massive potential of social media data collection. And of course, we will practice. We'll ask you to choose a platform, one of 6 social media platforms, and Itamar will provide you a live demonstration of a real-time data collection, how it's happening, how it's set up, how it's running, and how it's collecting data. And then Amit from Accessly will share his unique way in which he's using data collection to verify influencers and fetch their data to aggregate the marketplace for advertisers. And of course, from time to time, we will stop and you will be able to ask us questions. So let's begin. If you remember, when you registered, we asked you, why do you want to collect data from social media? And most of you replied that you collect data for market research. Majority of the people here in the audience. Some of you collect data for influencer marketing, consumer sentiment, also competitive intelligence, and there were a good share of people who collect data for political or social activism, which is also a great cause. But these are all very common use cases, and I suspect that many of you may not realize that the scale of social media influence on our lives and economy. So let me start with 2 recent news that shook the market in the spring. The first is coming from the financial sector. Some of you may have heard about the big short squeeze that shook Wall Street in March. But maybe you don't know that all these shockwaves were created by a really small investment thread on Reddit called Wall Street Bets. People from this thread were able to drive up GameStop stock price, which was as low as $2.50 per share, to hit a high of $483, which is 180 times more than its original price. So you can imagine that companies who were already monitoring Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok for the sentiment around the GameStop was able to predict what's going to happen and prevent major losses. But those who didn't and who relied exclusively on a classic company and financial data and didn't use social media data, well, they ended up taking on almost $20 billion lost. It's even hard to imagine the astronomical amount of money that they lost. So this example shows us that collecting and using data from social media is no longer just for marketers, but it's also a must for institutional investors and many other sectors and industries of our society and economy. So the next news is coming from Financial Times, which reported that Microsoft approached Pinterest to discuss a potential $51 billion takeover. Pinterest would be Microsoft's biggest ever acquisition. But why? Pinterest is a relatively small platform of hobbies and do-it-yourself stuff. Why would Microsoft want to acquire a company like Pinterest and pay so much money? Maybe we can find an answer in a research conducted by Nosta, an e-commerce personalization platform. They compared social media platforms and discovered that Pinterest, despite driving relatively small amounts of traffic, delivers the highest average order value for retailers, higher than Facebook and higher than Instagram. And by the way, both in paid and organic channels. So the big takeaway from this news that mainstream social media is not always the answer to your marketing needs. In many cases, you may find that a smaller and more exotic social network can drive more revenue for you than the mainstream channels because it caters to the interest of your audience. And that's why one should keep monitoring all kinds of social media for all kinds of unexpected insights by analyzing data. By the way, Pinterest didn't agree and decided to remain an independent company. And I'm happy for them. It's a really lucrative offer. So how do we monitor all the networks that out there? In 2014, when the Facebook first launched, it was hardly 5 social networks out there, and only 3% of population was using it. Right now, we have over 100 social networks and 4 billion people using them every day. Social media influence every area of our life: economy, politics, health, education. Latest social media research shows that 87% of social media users today rely on recommendations from social media, and 55% make a decision about buying products online through social media platform. So as a result, social media has really become the most reliable and readily available source of data. More and more companies listen to social media, collect influencers' data to find the right advocates for their brand. They try to understand their consumer sentiments, listen to the brand mentions, and understand their competitors. You can find a lot of such case studies published online. But I want to show you something that you can learn only here with us. As a global leader in data collection, we have access to real case studies that we see among our customers that a little bit away from the mainstream. And I want to share with you 2 of them. For example, you may all know that a lot of brands nowadays experiencing increased brand and intellectual property infringements on various social networks. So our customer, Redpoints, has developed a really innovative way to help brands to protect themselves by continuously, in real time, scanning social media for a variety of data points. You can see all of them on the website or on the slide, but basically it's everything from the brand and product mentions and to fake social profiles and pages which can appear in search results. And to be able to serve hundreds of their customers, just imagine tens of millions pages and search results they have to do every day. Like to scan one social media page, it can be 20,000 URLs, and those are tens of thousands of such pages. So sounds like a massive operation, but in reality, all you need is one engineer and the tools and strategies that we will introduce later today. So I just want to encourage you to stay until the end to see how it's possible to do. And my next example is an American company, NGO named Madison, that is ensuring the best diversity practices in hiring. Madison is using bright data tools to connect underrepresented job seekers with employers committed to diversity and inclusion. By aggregating job posts and data on diversity practices of companies, this NGO has created the largest diversity, talent, and employment database, which would be impossible without robust data collection operation in place. To summarize, I should say that we cannot underestimate the significance of social media in today's world. Every social media matters and can play a major role in your marketing strategy. The only way to find out which social network is right for you is to collect and analyze data from it. Maybe your social network is not a Facebook, maybe your social network is Discord, or maybe it is Telegram. So that you have to determine yourself by collecting data. And secondly, collecting data from social media is a must. Every customer of yours is on social media. So whether you're a business or NGO or investment firm, you have to collect data from social media to understand and to predict what is going to happen next. And of course, if we are talking about data collection, the bigger data, the better. To maintain your competitive edge, you have to be able to collect data at scale and almost in real time. And now I'd like to introduce you to Itamar Abramovich, who is going to show you exactly how we are able to do that. But before that, do you have any questions for me?
Thanks, Anna. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great, thanks. Hi, all. Nice to meet you. My name is Itamar Abramovich. I'm the Data Collector Product Manager. And I'm with my team, of course, developed the product that you're going to see today. And before we are getting into a discussion about the product itself and a little bit about how to really use it, and I encourage everyone when we are done with this presentation to go to brightdata.com, sign up, and try our product. We want to show you a little bit about what are the problems with collecting data. We are trying to do that. I will try to do this really fast. Of course, if you have any question regarding any slide, feel free to stop me or write me in the chat. And if I will see any question that regarding the presentation now, I will answer. Anna, we have an answering question already. Okay, so let's start. First of all, I guess that all of you know that, and this is part of the reason that you came today. All of you know that collecting data is really hard. It's hard because of multiple problems. First problem is that websites are keep getting changed. Today, I guess that you wrote some kind of crawler, or you have systems that collecting data from specific website. These websites are keep getting changed. As you know, in social media, just few months ago, Facebook, for example, changed the whole look, meaning that the entire website was changed, and a lot of people out there, a lot of companies out there needed to do some kind of change into their own crawlers or collectors in order to get the new data. A few weeks ago, we saw that this role was almost happening in every country. So we needed to make sure that our collector now are doing or having or changed accordingly, so the data will keep getting to you in the right way. So this is the first issue. The second issue is that even if you wrote a good collector or a good crawler, after you will try to scale it up, you will see you will get few issues. So one issue can be that you will keep or you will get blocked, meaning that when you try to send more requests into the website, something will be broken in the middle, or in the so you need to do something in order to fix it. So I guess that most of the issues that you're going to see that there are a lot of blocking issues that someone need to fix. And the second issue is that if you want to get the data in a specific amount of time, and especially when you're speaking about social media, you want to get a lot of data, meaning that you want to get a lot, you want to send a lot of requests and also get a lot of responses. You need to have a very large infrastructure to supply this. And it can be complex, it can cost you a lot. And this is also something that we want to show you today how to solve. So just as an example, if you want to collect 20,000 URLs, for example, 20,000 URLs of, let's say, of a profile URL in Facebook, in Instagram, and the average time to get the data from this website can take up to 6 seconds, and you have just two CPU cores, it can take you up to 16 hours. Again, when you want to collect data on masses and a lot of data, so you need to do it in a fast way, in parallel. So it will not take you 16 hours, it will take you less time. And we are also trying to solve this issue by sending a lot of requests in parallel and make sure that you're getting the data really fast. But we have a limitation here. The only limitation that Bright Data have is that we have a rate limit per domain. So if you're looking on a small website from a country like Israel that has only 8 million people out there, for example, let's speak about a news site that in a good day need to supply data for 8 million people. Of course, that you understand that if 16 million people will try to collect data from it, something will be broken, maybe the success rate will be decreased. And of course, that social media is built, this website, Instagram, Facebook, and all of these other social media are built to supply way more data. So in this case, the rate limit will be way higher. But still, for every collector that we are building, we are checking what is the rate limit for each website. And we want to show that, we want to check that we are not harming this website. So we are checking first that we are not harming this website by sending way more requests than this website is built to get. And also this thing from your side will not hurt your success rate, meaning that you will get steady data in a steady rate. Now, in order to explain the data collector product, we need to understand what you're doing today in most cases. Some of you, I guess, don't even know that you're doing this because you have maybe your own system that are doing this thing under the hood. But we did hear something really special. So on the bottom side, you see that you need to have a good infrastructure to store or to host all of your crawlers, all of your system, that in the end, using everything on top of this part, using proxy and collect the data from. So today, I guess that you're using Azure, AWS, or Google Cloud Services, or maybe your own dedicated server out there. But this is something that you own, and you need to make sure to maintain it. Of course, this thing costs money. And part of our software is also handling this. We'll get back to it in a second. On top of it, you need good proxies. So of course, Bright Data has the best proxy out there, and we have four types of proxy. One that is data center, the other one that is ISP proxy, residential proxy, and mobile proxy. So even if you've got the best infrastructure out there, you need really good proxy in order not to be blocked and to get the data in large scale. And on top of it, even if you've got the best proxy ever, maybe from time to time you will get blocked. And the reason for it is because maybe the site is recognize you as a scraper. So they don't want to give you the data. So with the unblocker, we are doing a lot of things on top of the proxy level, meaning changing the IP automatically, in some cases solving CAPTCHA. We are doing protocol manipulation, we are managing the header, we are adding fingerprints, relevant fingerprints, and changing user agent. And everything here is being done without you even know it. We are doing that in the background. So data collector in one picture doing everything now, meaning that we are giving you robust infrastructure, meaning that you can create your own collector on top of this infrastructure. And if now you need to collect way more data, you don't even need to scale up. We are doing this automatically for you. On top of it, we have the best proxy ever, and we are also giving you the unblocking mechanism, making sure that you will always get the data without getting blocks. And the last thing is that we collect only data that you need in a structure that you will specify for us. We already have a question from the audience for Kevin. Kevin is asking, what is an example of a mobile proxy? So a mobile proxy is a part of a group or a group type group inside a residential, meaning that residential is proxies that we have 72 million IPs all around the world from real users, and mobiles is just a group from this residential group that use just that used a mobile IP. So for example, if you are connected from a phone to a cellular network, this will count as a mobile proxy. Kevin, did I answer your question? If not, please let me know. Yeah, okay, got it, yes. Thank you, Kevin. So in order to explain what we are doing, we need to explain, or to show what we are doing, we first need to explain the motivation or what is a collector. So we develop a lot of collectors in order to connect to a lot of websites out there and to get just the relevant data that you need. One example for a collector is an Instagram profile collector. And, this collector is doing one thing or one specific thing. You're sending him a profile name, or in other cases, a URL for a profile. And in return, you are getting all of this data. We'll show it in a demo in a second, but we are showing you all of the posts and and of course, how many followers and following and everything that we can see in this page. So a collector, again, is some kind of let's call it a unit that you are sending an input to, and you're getting a lot of output from. So just before we are getting to the real demo, we need to explain what type of collectors we've got. So of course that we've got collectors for social media, for e-commerce, and a lot of other type of website. But also we have something that we call data collectors ownership, meaning that we need to differentiate between collectors that we own and collectors that the customer own. So when we're speaking about Bright Data Collector, a public collector, it means that if now you will sign up to Bright Data and you will try to search for example, for a Facebook profile collector, you will see it because it's available for everyone. This collector is being built and maintained by us. I'm reminding you that sites keep getting changed a lot of time, and it can happen maybe one time a day, in other cases once a week. But in any case, when this site is being changed, we need to do something about it. We need to fix the collector, meaning, for example, if now instead of getting the data, let's show the Instagram example. If the following move to here for some reason, the number of following moves from here to here, we need to change the collector to supply it. So we're doing everything in order to make sure that it's maintained and you will get the data, meaning that we are monitoring it day and night. We'll create a Bright Data Collector only for popular website when the use case is general, meaning that it's good for a lot of people, for most of our customers. In other cases, we have customers that say that they have their own project and they want to collect something very specific to them. It can be all for a rare website, maybe a social media that we didn't heard of, or in other cases, you want to collect something on a specific use case from a website that we did heard of. For example, you want to collect data from Facebook, but you want to do something inside to collect just specific data. So this is a unique use cases. For example, go to their marketplace and search something inside and then get the data from there. So this is a unique use case. And this is the difference between a Bright Data Collector and Customer Collector. Also, it's important to say that customer collector, sorry, will be available only for your account. There are two options. We can build it for you and then you maintain it, or we can build it for you and for additional fee, we'll maintain it for you. But in any case, you will be in charge and you will get the data. You will get all of the notification if something went wrong. Of course, that we are here to help you if something like that will happen. Now, it's important to say that Bright Data is when we are developing products, we are always developing in a way that they are fair secure, meaning that they are encrypted and you're getting the data in a way that will not harm, and from information security aspects. But also we are building it in a way that it's ethical and compliant. So one really nice example for being ethical and compliant is that, for example, we spoke about here about challenging scalability and blocking issue. And we discussed a little bit about when you are trying to get data from a website and you're sending a lot of requests, maybe you will get blocked. But it's not just that we want you to have the best success rate. It's super important for us. But we also want to make sure that we are ethical and we are not harming the website by sending millions of requests when they just can't handle it. So this is just one way of demonstrating how we are not harming any website that we are working with. And also another example is that we are also only collecting publicly available data, meaning data that is not under a login. So for example, we will not collect data that is private. So for example, let's say that you want to collect data from a profile that this profile changes security setting to be private, so we will not collect it. We will not try to log in some way to collect the data. So the only thumb rule is, if the data is publicly available, we will get it. The last thing is about being compliant. So we are doing a lot of things by making sure that we're GDPR and CCP compliant. And we have a new website that we just now launched. It's part of our website. You can see it in our main website under resources. But if we collect a private data, meaning data that is publicly available but is attached to a specific email, and you will add your email here, you can check if we collected data on you. And if we did, you can ask in the email that you will get, you can ask for us to delete it. So this is another way to explain how we are doing it, not just in an ethical way, but also in compliant way. The next thing is about collecting only publicly available data. So we discussed it already. And now we are getting into the interesting part. We'll take a 2-minute break. And in the meantime, there is a poll for you now to answer. And we want to know what is the collectors that you want to see now. And when it's done, we'll continue with the demonstration.
While we are waiting for everyone to vote, you can ask any question live from the Itamar. If any of those questions, you have any questions by now. Okay, 88% of the audience has voted, and I'm sharing now 90% of the audience has voted, and I'm sharing the results, and the winner is Facebook. So Itamar, please share the your screen and the Facebook collector. Okay, Marcus was asking how to participate in the poll, or simply just press the answer. But for now, poll is over. We're going to have another poll about this. So don't worry, you'll have a chance.
Itamar, I think you're muted.
Yeah, Itamar.
Yeah, I'm continuing the presentation now.
Yeah, can you answer?
We have another question from the audience. Instagram limit the number of thumbnails you can view in a profile without logging in. Does your Instagram bot log in into Instagram? So no, we are not logging into getting the data. We will just show a publicly available website data. Sorry. So I think that in Instagram specifically, you can scroll two times before getting the pop-up to log in. And this is what we are doing before getting the data.
But it's important to say that since we have a lot of requests, we are able to send thousands of requests in parallel, that this is not really an issue. So you can actually collect all the data that you need without, which are available publicly, without dealing with this authorization pop-up.
Great. So let's continue with the demonstration. So can you see my screen, please? Can you see it?
Yes, we can see the screen.
Okay, we have, by the way, another question in a language that I don't know, so please try to answer it in the meantime, Anna. And there is
Mark,
another question.
And
there is another question before we start: is the unblocker feature of the data collector solution completely built in-house? So yes, we built a few years ago the unblocker mechanism, and we are really proud of making it work in almost any website. We also developed, by the way, a set of automatic rules that keep getting changed with an AI to make sure that we are getting all of the data. And inside the data collector product, we also have this level, so it's automatically trying to do whatever it is without even you do anything about it, to just making sure that you're collecting the data in real time and in high success rate. So let's continue into the demo. So after you will sign up, you will see that you have this tab called the data collector. So the only thing that you need to do is just add the URL here. So for example, you can write Facebook, This is the one that I guess more interesting to you by the poll. But also, if you are interested about other collectors, feel free to choose the other option, use case. Choose a vertical that is social network, and you will see all of the collectors that you have here. Now, if you are not seeing the specific use case that you need, or you want to ask us anything, of course, that you can speak with your account manager, or in this case, just ask us to develop it for you. So you can click here, and then you will see this form asking you like 5 questions regarding you explaining to us what exactly do you need. In some cases, by the way, we're getting videos from clients showing us the specific use case, and in other cases, just print screening saying, you know what, I just need to get from this page, this part and this part, and that's all. So feel free to do whatever is more easy for you guys. And after filling up everything, just click continue. There are 4 more questions regarding how to reach you, and that's all. I'm saying, by the way, another question, so I will answer. Can you collect data from multiple platforms simultaneously? Of course, we can collect data from a lot of websites in parallel. So now we will show you just one collector for Facebook, but you can create 5 collectors for all social media. We have companies that are doing that with us, and you can initiate them in the same time, meaning every one of them will run in the same time in parallel, and whenever they've got the data, they will send it to you. So let's get into it. But I'm saying another question, so I want to answer. On the Facebook organization collector, will there be an addition of reviews info? So something that is important to say, when we are building a collector, we are creating the collector by specific customer need, and then understanding or try to understand if it's something that will be relevant for more customers. Our goal is to make sure that any data out there will be relevant. Or will be optional for you to use. So if you are not seeing a specific data, the only thing that you need to do is just choose it. After you choose everything, there is a way to say something is wrong. I will show it to you in a second. And then one of the options is to say data point is missing. So the only thing that will be that you will need to do after checking the data point is missing, just print screen this page that you want to collect data from and say, I also want to get this part and I want to call it X. So send us that, and we'll also gladly add it to our publicly available collector, and in this case, the Facebook organization. So let's go back into the demo. When I'm choosing Facebook, I'm saying that I've got 4 collectors. So I guess that the most famous one is Facebook profile. And when you're doing that, and this is relevant, of course, for any collector, you're saying that we are showing this metadata or this important thing that we think that are important for you to understand what kind of collector is it. So in this case, we are saying that it's public, meaning that Bright Data will be in charge over it. The second thing is that is a web page. This is the type, meaning that you are sending a URL, in this case, Facebook profile URL, and in return, getting the data. In other cases, by the way, it can be a search collector, meaning that you don't know what the URL is, so you are searching for a term, and then getting the data in return. And in other cases, maybe it will be a discovery collector, meaning that you don't know how much data you're going to get from this collector, but you only know that you want to collect all of the data on a specific term or on a specific search result. So in this case, for example, or in other cases, sorry, let's speak about like an e-commerce website, when you want to collect all of the data about an electronic product. So you don't know how many products there will be there. So you only know, the only thing that you know that you want to collect electronics, so maybe you will know the URL for electronic. So this is the discovery. It will collect all of the data from the same tree, meaning it will collect all of the points, all of the links underneath this electronic. And then after it, for each product URL, it will get the data for each product. So this is the discovery part. Now, as you can see here, you've got five options. So after I choose Facebook profile, I'm seeing the overview. In this case, you see that it's searching over 2.7 billion. I guess now it's more. And the usage is that you're sending a URL and getting something in return. And this something in return, it's this output example. So in this case, you're seeing that we are getting the URL, of course, that you sent. Also, we are showing you the image, the avatar image URL, the profile name, the profile handle, if it's verified or no, the profile type, and everything that you are seeing underneath. So again, if something is missing, just let us know by saying that a data point is specifically missing here. Now, we are working with companies that in most cases are doing something programmatically with the data that we are sending to them. So this is why we show JSON as a default. But if you want to get the data in CSV or in Excel, you can do that. Just later on, after you're choosing the template, you need to choose Excel, and you will get the same data in a way that will be, I guess, more readable to you. In most cases, CSV or Excel are more for companies or for individuals that want to do a manual search, and JSON are for companies that want to do something automatically. Anna, there is another question that in Spanish, I guess. So if you can answer, it would be
yeah, okay.
great. Thank you. So after that, we are getting into the part that we want to test it. So as you can see here, I tested the collector by adding this URL, and I'm getting this thing in return. So if you are not sure that this is the right collector for you, and of course that we have a free trial for every collector, I will show you to you in a second, just add the URL before committing to anything. Add the URL, click test, and you will see the data here. It's super informative. So the next thing is about API. So this is how you're calling our API. It can look a little bit confusing now, so we'll get back to you in a second. But just in a nutshell, this is something that you always need to write. It's not it's like the minimal thing to send us some kind of token, some kind of a request, and everything else is just the data that you are asking for us to get. And the last thing is about the source code. So as I explained, we are trying to create we're trying to create a lot of collectors. So in order to do that, we invented something that we are calling an IDE, Integrated Development Environment. And now, if you want to change the code a little bit, you can do that. So just click on update the source code after you're building the collector, and then you're getting into this part. It looks it's just JavaScript. So anyone that didn't even until now created a collector or develop a collector, you can use this part in order to change the collector a little bit. In this case, as you can see, we are collecting avatar image URL, and if tomorrow I want to add something new, I can just copy paste it and get another data point from the same website. I will get back to you in a second. We'll get back to it in the end of the presentation. So after I choose the right collector, as you can see, I've got 4. So let's focus on Facebook profile. I need to choose it, and there are 3 steps that you need to tell us how you want to or what is your delivery preferences. So again, you've got 2 options to get the data. One option is upon job completion. A good example for it is, for example, let's say that you want to send us 20,000 input that are a profile URL. So this is on job completion. And we will do whatever we can in order to make sure that you will get 100% success rate, meaning that if we will fail in the second input, we will do it again and again until we'll get the data. So this is one option that is on the job completion. And of course, that if you will send us 20,000 requests, we will do that in parallel. We'll try to make sure that you will get the data as soon as possible. Now, the second option is real-time. Real-time is a kind of a new option that we develop. And this is for someone that have their own app. And let's say that you have your own app and someone, your customers need to do something with your app and they want to get the data now and real fast. So in this case, this is the real time. And Amit, the CEO of Accessly, after me will explain a little bit about his use case, and he's using real time in a really interesting way. Now, if you're using a no job completion, and let's say that you want to collect millions of records, but you cannot handle these millions of records in 1 second when it's done. Even if it take us let's say 1 hour to collect the data, but we're just going to send you the data in 1 second when it's done. You may want to use a split delivery for small batches, and then let's say that after every 10,000 records, we will send you the data in a way that maybe will be more easy for you to use, and also you don't need to wait 1 hour because every 10,000 records will just send you the data as a report. The second part is about how you want to format your dataset. So as I mentioned before, you can format it in a way that is JSON, CSV, or Excel. You only need to choose it. So for now, let's just choose JSON. And then you need to tell us how you want to get the data. So of course, that if you're just testing it real fast, use email, choose your email, click test just to make sure that you're getting the email and nothing is blocked in the middle, and see that you're getting the test request. Of course, that if you're going to do it in a programmatically way, you need to choose another option. So we have the webhook, the Amazon S3, Google Cloud Storage, SFTP, and Microsoft Azure. And just to show it really real fast, there is a good website called webbook.site that you can see here, by the way. If you're hovering on top of webbook, this you don't need to remember, it's written here. You can check if this thing is working for you. So just copy to clipboard. This is just a demo of a webbook. Copy paste it, click test webbook, and then you will see here this test result. So for now, we'll just use that in order to show you in a way that is not an email. Of course, that if you're going to create a lot of collector, and this is correlated to the questions that I was asked earlier, you want to collect data from Facebook and from Instagram, from any other website. Maybe you want to give a file name. You want to change the file name for this job. So for example, we can call it Facebook, and then it will be dash and then the name of the job. Notification is the last thing here. You don't have to use it, but if, for example, you're using one of these, Amazon to Microsoft, everything here, maybe you want to get a notification when it's done. So not just making, you want to get some kind of alert, making sure that before you're handling something, it's really uploaded to your system. So you can use this webbook. One thing that is important to say, from time to time, we're seeing customers that have non-steady FTP, or something wrong with Amazon S3 or their Google Cloud Storage. So this data is also being stored for us for a limited amount of time. And if you have a problem, you will get an email saying, we couldn't send the data to you, and the error name. And then you just need to do something. In most cases, it's from the customer side to fix the issue there. For example, your FTP now failed, and then it will automatically retry after you fix it after a few seconds, or there is a button to click and then it will retry it manually. So all of these things are quite powerful. And now we're getting to the interesting part. And as I guess all of you know, the interesting part is the data itself. So specifically, we're talking now about Facebook profile. And you're seeing that we are showing the URL and the avatar image URL and everything that we saw earlier in the JSON. But here you can predefine or define for yourself how you want to name every data point. So for example, you don't want to collect it, you don't want to name it URL, but profile URL. So no coding required here. Just change the name here, and it will automatically change the JSON to be profile URL. Also, if you think that the date format is not a text, it's something else, you can do that. And it's really important, for example, when we're speaking about images. So if you want to download an image, not just to get the URL, but for us to download the image and send it into your own storage, of course, just for relevant type of data points, of parsed data points, you can click download, and it will automatically choose or will surf into this URL, download it, and send it to your storage. Now, if you think that profile name is way more important than something else, of course that you can scroll it up and now the JSON will be ordered in another way. If you're speaking about collecting data about millions of records, this thing can take some time. So you can also add timestamp, and it will add a data point to each record saying when specifically it was collected. So let's say that it took us 1 hour and you want to know when specifically we collected this data. So that timestamp will show you that. Also, if something is super important for you and without this, it's not relevant, I'm doing a little bit of a promo, but for Amit from Accessibly, the most important thing for him was biography. And without it, the data, this whole record, and record is everything here, does not mean anything from him. So the only thing that you need to do is just click on a V, meaning that this is required. And if for some reason we will not be able to get it, we'll retry it multiple times. And if the end result was that we just can't get it, you will not be charged for anything here. One thing that is important to say, we are not charging any customer about retries. Retries is our problem. You are just getting charged for something called page load. We'll get back to it after the demo. So as you can see here, this is all of the data points that are relevant for us. Also, we have something kind of nice that is screenshot and HTML. So if this thing is not enough, of course that with the IDE, with the development tool, you can add a lot of other things. But if you want to get the HTML, you can just do it by clicking. Or in other cases, if you want to get a screenshot of the page that we collect, just click here. So we're getting a question, how much your product costs. We'll get back to it in a second. Not in a second, sorry, in a few minutes. This is part of the presentation. So just keep the question here, so I will answer it later. So after doing this part, we are clicking next, and we are getting almost to the end, to the part that you now need somehow to initiate this request. So as you can see here, this is a regular request, a request that is being initiated by an API. We have three options to initiate request. One option is initiate by an API. The second option is doing that manually, meaning that this is all of the options that now we want to collect. So I'm deleting almost everything. Let's keep just one. And for example, I want to collect data about Bill Gates. And this load more part, it's relevant to the question that I was asked about Instagram, but also it's relevant for Facebook. Maybe you want to scroll down a little bit and collect more data about this page. So this is the number that you can add to show I want to scroll 3 times before saying I'm done. So we're always trying to be super transparent about how we are collecting the data and making sure that the cost will not be something that you're going to be surprised about, because the cost is about page load, about how many times we are sending something into a server and getting something in return. So in this case, this is affecting the cost. And again, we'll explain about the cost in a few minutes. So now I want to show you how to connect to initiate by an API. Also, by the way, we have another option that we cannot show here because it's not part of the trial. But after you activate your trial, you have an option to do a schedule mode, meaning that it's some kind of a hybrid between manual and API, meaning that you are manually adding everything, but it's automatically saying that you can initiate this. We will initiate it for you every 1 month, every 1 week, every X amount of, every period of time that you will define with us. So let's continue into something really fast, initiate by an API. We have 3 options here. The first thing is regular request, queue request, and replace request. I don't want to confuse anyone. The only thing that is important to know is that most of our customers use queue, meaning that if you will send more than one API request, and again, every API request, as you can see, is more than one input. So for example, here I'm saying 1 input, 2 input, 3, 4, etc. So we can send thousands of input in one request. You can also make sure that if you will send another one like that with a different input, for example, you want to send the first request going to be about a subject X, and the second request with a lot of input going to be about subject Y. And the only reason that you're doing that is because you want to differentiate both and making sure that the data will be collected in a way that you will know what to do with it after. And it will be easy for you to follow. So in this case, you will do a queue request, meaning that after this is done, it's automatically start the second request with a lot of other input. We are doing that in a way, by the way, that is parallel. So if you will send every time just one request, it will be way slower than sending a lot of requests in one time, because then we will not have the ability to do it in a parallel, and then it will take a little bit more, it will take way more time. By the way, I'm not speaking about the real time. Amit will explain to you that for real-time request, of course, you will need to send it in a way that every time you're sending one request and getting one request in return, you can send a lot of requests to us. But it will, and in real time, it will take you less than 5 seconds in most cases. Of course, it's depending on the website. So after you're choosing this API, we need to speak a little bit about how this API is being written. So as you can see here, all of these things are the data that is relevant to the URL itself. And here you can see that we are sending just one request that has the Bill Gates profile in this case, and we want to do it 2 times. Part of the API, by the way, is sending the data to a specific collector. This is the ID of a specific collector. Again, guys, if this thing is way too hard for you, you can just use manually. But if you want to go large and collect a lot of data, I guess you need to do it with a developer. So this thing is quite straightforward. This is your code in order to make sure that no one else will use your collector. So the only thing that is needed here is just, in this example, going to bash, pasting it here, and then you will see that automatically after it you will get the data. Now the reason that it's not working now is that we are not in specifically just for a trial, we do not allow queue. So just in trial we do not allow it. So now I remove the queue thing, and now when I'm going again into bash, and you can see the trial collector does not support queue, I'm doing it, it will run. So as you can see, it's now running. And in the meantime, let's answer the question. Can you please clarify what is load more item count used for again? Yeah, So look at, you need to look at the website in order to maybe understand it a little bit better, but without even doing that, try to imagine that you're going into Facebook and you are, from your own computer, you are seeing, let's say, 5 posts. Now, if you will check the HTML, you will see that you are getting just 5 posts, not more. After that, if you will try to do, if you will try to scroll down, now the server will understand that you want to see more posts, so it will do something in the background to making sure that you are getting more posts now. So this is the option to count, this is the option that we called a more item count or a load more item count. So if you will, in this case, write 3, it will automatically scroll down 3 times before going to the next part. So as you can see, before I'm answering the next question, I saw that. You see that we got the data for about Bill Gates. We are getting the profile name, the profile URL, all of his posts, and for specific posts also we are getting the comments, the likes, shares, etc. So it's most likely everything that you need. We've got a question from the audience. Do you support uploading CSV as an input? If not, will you support this in the future? So yes, we do support it. The only thing that you need to do, and maybe I will show it to you now, you need to click here, initiate manually. You can download, let's have all of this example. You can download the report, download the CSV here. Now try to upload to your own, to this CSV, the data that is relevant. So for example, here under URL, add the right URL, and under load more, add the number that you want to collect. Add everything here, save it, and then the only thing that you need to do is just drag it here or browse for it. It will automatically populate everything inside here. The only limitation that we have, at least now, we are working on making it better, is 100 megabyte of a file. So if you want to collect more, you will need to split your files, but we're working now on even making it more than like unlimited, and we'll do everything in the background in order to make sure that we'll increase this rate, this limit. Hopefully it answers your question. So we saw now that we collected data about Facebook. And if I'm clicking here on this collector, I'm seeing that the success rate is 100%. I just ran it one time. I collected 1 record, and the average duration for it was 1 minute. I'm saying the delivery method. If I want to change it, by the way, I can click here. If I want to change the output configuration, I can click here also. But now let's get into the last part, that is learning a little bit about statistics. Because when you're going to send us a lot of inputs, you want to know what's going on with this input. So in this case, you can learn that our internal ID is this name, and we are using this ID in order to communicate between us and you to understand if you have some kind of problem, what is the specific jobs that you have problem with. And also, you can see that we sent, in this case, in this bash option, just 1 URL, that is Bill Gates. In return, we got just 1 record. We got 0 failed. The success rate in this case is 100%. And we started at this time, finished at that time, and also it took us 1 minute and 105 milliseconds. Now, this part specifically, you see, it took us a way longer time. But when you're doing this in parallel, it will take you a few seconds per profile to get the data. Now, the last thing that is important about the question that we got earlier about the product cost is about how much does it cost. So the unit for our cost is something that we are calling page load. So in this case, you see that just to get 1 input, it cost us 4 page load. We are doing something from the marketing world calling CPM. Every 1,000 page load costs you something. It can cost you between $5 to $0.50 and even less. It's really depend on how many on your package, how many inputs or how many page load you're committed to do per month. So we have more data about it in our website, and of course, Tana will share it with you. But feel free to, in the end of the presentation, to tell us what is your use case, and we'll help you estimate how many inputs, and of course, with a clear correlation, how many page load you will need to do in order to do your use case, and we'll try to make sure that you're getting the best price ever for this. So before getting into the, you know what, sorry about it. Let's go to the next part. Amit Iluz is the CEO of Accessory. I met him 2 months ago when he asked us to help him with his use case. Very interesting use case. He will show it to you in a second. I don't want to ruin the surprise. Amit, the floor is yours. Thanks.
Hi, you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Amit, and I'm the CEO of Accessory. I'm invited here to talk about our interesting use case with Bright Data. And before I do that, I explain you about Accessory. Accessory is the first and leading guest post marketplace. Guest posting means that you can advertise your business on well-known websites like Forbes and MarketWatch. To compare Accessory to other solutions out there, if you ever done outreach. So you will need to find random emails and send thousands of emails to people you don't know. And maybe one of them will get back to you. And then you start negotiate the price and close the deal outside. And what we did in Accessory, it's very simple. We've created a marketplace where there are one side of advertisers and the second publishers. You can filter the results by price, domain authority, language. We have more than 25,000 websites on the platform. And as we go, we got a lot of requests to expand the marketplace for more opportunities, like Instagram, TikTok, and Quora. And we immediately saw the need to verify the influencer's profile. Because in Accessory, when you buy a guest post, you get the guest post. We have more than 90% success rate. It's not like outreach platform. And the only option we had back then before Bright Data is to connect to every social platform API, which was impossible for us because it's very hard to maintain this. And we eventually want to work with hundreds of social platforms. So we found a creative solution with Bright Data. As you can see in the picture, so we asked from the influencer to add the word Accessory to his biography. And we're sending the request to Bright Data. Bright Data gives us back the profile. And if the word Accessory is there, so that means the profile is verified and it's ready to go to the marketplace. Here you can see a demo of how it works. So you choose an influencer, there are publishers or contributors. Choosing the social network. Adding his username, choosing his selling information. Here we're sending the data to Bright Data, gives us the response. And here you can see the profile live on the marketplace. So this is our first use case with Bright Data. And the second one is on the same request, we are verifying the profile. We also getting all the data from the influencer profile, like number of followers, number of posts and likes, the pictures. Instead of asking the influencer to add all this information manually, we make the onboarding process much easier. Yeah, that's it. This is our use case. If you have any questions, I will be happy to answer and help.
Thank you, Amit. So guys, I want you to pay attention that there is a Q&A button that if you want your question to be answered during the webinar, please use that box because we only see the questions that appear there. I see some of you typing in the chat. Unfortunately, presenter during the presentation cannot read from the chat, only from the Q&A box. So if any questions to Amit, this is the time to ask him.
Yeah, I see one question. Can you tell more about the real time? So if the username come to us on the onboarding process, when he first tried to add his influencer profile, we don't see if he wrote excessively or not. So only after he see on our side that we ask him to add the word excessively, we need this information right away. So we need fresh data. I don't know, Itamar, what is the freshness of the other method? I think 5 minutes, or right?
They're always fresh, and we are doing that. If the job will be for 1 hour, it will be fresh for the time that we are now getting to this point. Something that is important to say, Amit is doing something really interesting here. As you know, we have Facebook option to log in, Facebook login, and we have Google login. And if I'm not mistaken, we have LinkedIn login. But no one still invented Instagram login or any other kind of login or Quora login. And this is kind of unique use case when Amit is trying to verify his customers or the people that are giving data to him, because they are not, in this case, I guess they are not your customers, they are your employees or providers of data, right. and they want somehow in an automatic way to show to the website they are the people that they are saying that they are. For example, they have like 1 million of followers. This is like very important person out there. And you want to say, I am this one. So the only way to do that is by saying or adding to the biography for example, in Instagram, the word excessively or any other ID that Amit know, the website know. And then when they are saying, I'm done, just for a second, we are doing the real-time request. We're checking what's going on now. And then if Amit website, Amit software is detecting that the word excessively is out there, saying, okay, this is the right person. This is the person that is saying that he is. And then we are connecting, and now Amit know that this is his new provider of data or his new influencer. So it's very unique, and hopefully this explains a little bit more about the real-time use case when you have your own customers or your own users for your own website, and you want to get data now, and you don't want to do it in a batch or in a way that will take you a long time. The only downside for it, as I explained earlier, is that real time is doing it now. And if something failed now, you will need to retry it again. And of course, that from batch, we will do the retry for you again and again. And something that is important to say also, in the first option, in the batch mode, also, if the success rate will be lower than 90%, if I'm not mistaken, we will try to do it again and again until we will get into the point that for the remaining inputs, we have 5% success rate that is very low, meaning that we cannot do anything about it, and then we'll stop the job. In most cases, in social media, we will get to very high success rate, as Amit, I guess, can also tell by himself.
Yeah.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you very much for you presenting. It's a very interesting use case and a really good website. Now it's the time to also tell that if you want to use excessively, you can reach Amit. I'm putting it just for a few seconds. So if someone is interested into publishing a publication with this service, just try to search for Amit or send an email to Amit in an email or search for him in LinkedIn or this is his Facebook account. And of course, we'll send this presentation later so you can reach him if you want to. Thank you, Amit. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We are now getting into the second part of how to create your own custom collector. Now, I don't really know how much of you are a developer and if you want really get into it. So I will just say that I will explain it in a real, like in two minutes. If it's really interesting for you guys, let me know, ask it in the Q&A and I will answer it. And if not, if you want to do it in private, because in this case specifically, private session is way better because you have a lot of small questions that in the end is a very large use case. Feel free to reach any of our biz devs or me, and we'll try to help you. Before we are doing that, there was a question from the audience saying about the URL or some kind of an API for Facebook. I'm trying to find it. The collector can be customized to collect. On Facebook, organization collector will be there in addition to review, we answered. The collector can be customized to collect all data, we answer it. Do you use a public API to Facebook to get the profile data? So no, we are not using public API. We are using a real-life peer to collect the data from, but we do have our own internal API for you to connect with this collector. So for every collector, there will be a unique API that you need to send a unique input to it. For example, if you're collecting data about Facebook profile, you need to send an input of a Facebook profile, and you're doing the same for Instagram. Of course, this is another kind of input. So for each and every one, there is like these different inputs and different preferences that you can send it in the API itself, like the number of loads, page load, or in other cases, do it from the collector itself, like when I showed you that you can change the collector customization, for example, the data points and other stuff like that. So I've been asked if you are using Puppeteer. So you're using a lot of technologies. Puppeteer is just one of them. But I'm always saying that it's very important to say that the question about the proxy and about the unblocking and about the technology is important just out of curiosity. But when you are really using the collector, you don't need to do anything about it. We are in charge over this entire operation. We will need to find the best way over collecting data. In some cases, by the way, Puppeteer will be best. In other cases, there are other options, like collecting data from JSON or other things. So hopefully I answer your question, but hopefully that after that you will also, by testing it, you will see that it's the thing of the past. Now you just need to write your own crawler, and we will do the rest. So we are now getting into the interesting part about the ID. So the ID is your option to customize your own code if you want to. So in this case, you can click edit the template, and it will automatically redirect you here. So as you can see here, I have two options. One that is the interaction code, two parts of the code, sorry. One that is the interaction code, and the other one is the parser code. Both of them are with JavaScript, jQuery, and it's supposed to be super informative or super simple for everyone that knows JavaScript. You don't need to know how to write a collector if you didn't do that in the past. The only thing that you need to know is that you have this help button. This help button contains a lot of functions that we build in order to make your life a little bit easier. So for example, if you want to change the country, meaning that you want to use a peer to collect a Facebook profile from India, if you want to use an Indian peer. So in this case, you will choose the right option here, that I guess that is country in this case. I'm searching for it, and you will see that for this, you need to send just the type. So in this case, it's already here. We are using Great Britain in order to collect, and we are using an OS that is Windows. And after we are doing all of this part, we can also do something more unique. For example, wait for something to load, or click on a specific thing. So the only thing that you need to do here is just, if you want to click on a specific element, you just choose for the specific option here, that is click. And then you will see that you have three options. One that is click on a specific selector, one is on specific ID, or the other one that is ID plus click and with jQuery. And you can just copy this thing, paste it inside, and then it will click for you. So in specific cases, we can see that the preview is very complicated. It's not in all cases, but the preview is super nice to see, because if you click preview, you will see now what's happening in the background. So if you have all of this click, you will see in this picture that first of all, we got into to this page, then we clicked here, and then we click there. It's super informative, and in a few days, we're going to launch the ID page, so you will have a lot of videos out there. And again, as you can see here now, this is the dot that's saying we are here in this part, and now we are getting into this page. This is like, if you will check it, you will see that this is the data for now, and you will see all of the posts. And if you want to click on something, for example, click on photos and then collect the data from here. If you don't have the URL, if photos does not have URL, the only thing that you need to do is just add a click on this selector and then collect the data from here. So this is supposed to be super interesting for you to debug and to know that you're getting the right data in a way that you don't need to have a prior knowledge about how to write collectors. If you want to learn more about it, just let us know. And of course, that if you want to try it, just sign up to Bright Data, click Edit the Collector, and you will see you will get 3 options to collect data from. Anna.
Thank you, Itamar. I hope everyone enjoyed this informative, very informative demo. And
Anna, sorry to stop you. One
yes.
thing that I think that I was that I rushed to say, when you are using your trial, you have a trial for each and every collector. So you can use each and every collector for a trial. You can start it now. The only limitation for a trial is that you will get 100 records for each, meaning that if you try to test the profile, after 100 records, you will be limited. But if you want to create your own collector, you are limited to 3 collectors that you build by yourself. Thanks, Anna. Sorry.
Okay. Later on, also, please answer about the prices. But right now, guys, I want to, first of all, thank you, Itamar, for the demo. And can you stop sharing the screen, Itamar? Let me do that. Okay. Okay, so what I wanted to say that we are going to have 9 different master classes dedicated. Each master class is going to be dedicated to one social network when we go in thoroughly through each use case for this particular media. And right now, if you want, you can quickly sign up for this masterclass. And during this masterclass, you will be able to create your own collector and get help from our product managers during this hands-on session. So if you are interested to participate, you can have multiple choices. So you can choose and Facebook and Instagram. If you're targeting 4 social media, choose 4. If you target 9, choose 9. You will get a personalized invitation for this hands-on session. Depends on how many participants there will be. It's going to be either mini workshop or one-on-one session. We will let you know closer to the dates. So to vote, you just go to this green area on the screen and choose the option and press send. I see that only 50% of the participants voted. And if you don't want, or if you have some exotic social media that you don't see here, you just press other, and we can discuss privately.
Or any other use case that is not from social media.
Yeah, or any other use case that is not from the social media, it is also possible. So I'm waiting for another 30 seconds, and then I'm going to end the poll. Also, in the meantime, while we are waiting for the poll results, you can keep going and type your questions in the Q&A box for me, for Itamar, or for any of our representatives here. We have here pre-sales engineers and business development managers who can also help you with the questions. Okay, I guess everyone who wanted to participate voted, and you can see the results are predictable. Most of the people are interested in the Facebook hands-on workshop, and we will let you know when it's going to happen. You will get the notification on your email. This is a time for questions. I think, Itamar, you can start from answering that question about the pricing. And in the meantime, all the questions that you have, please either raise your hand. You have a virtual hand on the control panel in Zoom, or type your question in Q&A. Itamar, it's yours.
Thanks, Anna. I'm sharing my screen. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so as I said earlier, the price can be between half a dollar to $5. It really depends on the number of pages that you're doing. but it's important to understand what is a page load before getting to the right price, because as I mentioned, we will customize the price for your number of inputs, and we will try to extrapolate from that how many page loads out there. So I really encourage you to go to our website, clicking on pricing, clicking on data collector here, seeing all of the prices. Of course, that if you will choose a yearly subscription, it will save you 10%, and if you will go as pay as you go without any commitment, the price will be higher. But this video explains in a really good way what is a page load, and it's really relevant to the question that we had earlier about the load more data. So we will not show all of the video here, but what's important to show is that here, when you are getting, this is just an example, for an e-commerce website and searching for something, and this is one page load. And if you're going to the next page, this will be counted as another page load. And again, if you want to do it 3 times, it will be another page load. And again, for each and every product that you will going to click on, or in other cases, each and every post, it will be counted as another page load, just if the server did something, meaning we sent something to the server and got something in return. In the social media use case, it will change between sites. So for example, in sites like Instagram, when we are collecting data and scrolling down, this will count as another page load. And for each and every post that we will open, it will be counted as another page load. So for example, we had a customer that want to collect data about hashtags. It's really popular. And this specific customer didn't want just to get to write the hashtag, but also get data about the biography for each and every profile here, meaning first we are adding the hashtag, then this is one page load, we are collecting everything that we can. Then for each post, we are opening in a new page, collecting all of the data about this specific post. And then in the end, also going to the profile to collect other data on top of it. So the way that we are building it is in a way that we are building one collector that is doing all, but also giving you the ability to split it into a few collectors. So you will be in charge over saying, now I just want to collect all of the posts here. And then I want from all of the posts, just collect this one and that one by some kind of preferences that your system will define. So again, we are building the collectors always in a way that one is doing all, and the other one is splitted for a specific use case, so it will be way more cost effective for you. Any other question, guys?
Yeah, there is a question from anonymous attendee. Have you noticed any changes recently when collecting data from Instagram? For example, hitting an authorization page before being able to see any Insta post. If so, how do you handle it?
So if we're saying this kind of, yes, we did, and we are trying to use our blocker in order to make sure that we will not get blocked, meaning it will be counted as a regular user. The important thing to say here is that we don't want to harm any website, and we don't want to fool anyone. The only thing that we need to do here is just making sure that we are behaving like a real human being in a way that the success rate will not be harmed. And maybe in this specific use case, the best way of doing that is just doing more retries. But in other cases, is doing something in the unblocker level, meaning that we will get less reject from this specific website. Hopefully, I answered this question. Any other questions?
Yeah, as a follow-up to this, would a redirect count as a success?
As a follow-up, would it redirect count as success? So if we are doing a redirect, I'm understanding this question twice, so I will answer two questions that I thought about redirect. So first of all, if we are doing redirect and then getting to the page that we want, the redirect is less relevant because then we are redirecting to the page that we want and then we are collecting data. So the end result is what matters. Other cases is asking me if I need a redirect and if the redirect will cost me something. So in specific cases, this is really determined It's really depend on the use case. In specific cases, redirect will be like another a page load. In other cases, it will not. But again, if we are redirected into a page that need login, we will retry it again. So we're not getting into the point that we need to log in, because if we're getting login, we cannot do anything about it. We will not try to hack it or something. Kevin, I'm seeing your question. I'm not sure that I know how to answer. So if you want to, we can unmute you, and hopefully you can ask this question verbally.
Yeah, Kevin, you can just raise your hand and I will find and unmute you. Or just type what is VIRS.
In the meantime, if until we find Kevin, if anyone have another question, feel free to ask.
VARs is value-added resellers.
Yeah, hi,
so
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, Kevin, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so let's say I'm offering an analytics front end service, like a sentiment analysis front end, and using your data as a back end. So like if I'm offering, my service, but using you guys as a back end, do you work with like a value added reseller? Like I would be basically selling your service, but combining it with like an analytics service, if that makes sense.
Yeah, unfortunately, we are not doing that, but we are thinking about getting into the point that from a different angle, that the customer can add their own collectors, meaning they are doing something. For example, we'll build a collector that is collecting something, and on top of that, we are doing some kind of analytics that giving value to other customers. So we'll be able, we don't know exactly when, because we're still discussing that internally, but we'll give you the option to develop your own collector with your own API maybe that is doing something in the background to have a great analysis, and then deliver the data after the analysis to the customer. And then maybe still it's in discussion. I cannot say that we are going to do that for 100%, but maybe we will get into the point that we are doing a revenue share about it, but not in the near future, not in the next few weeks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other question? Feel free to raise your hand, and we'll just give you we'll unmute you and give you the ability to speak.
In the meantime, if you want to contact us, please find the contact details of our team right here. Also, I'll ask our amazing team to post the contacts in the chat. Rachel, Fadi, Mark, David, Raphael, can you please do that? And also, we'll be happy to connect with you over Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, or Instagram. Also, we have a channel on YouTube with a lot of video that explain how to use the product and how to do the data collection with its help. So feel free to reach out. And I hope that you enjoyed this evening. I hope that you liked what you've heard. And
Anna, can I share something real quick?
Yes, sure. Go ahead.
Everything that we saw here today are in a new page that we just launched today. So I'm sharing my screen just for a second. As you can see, if you go into Luminati page, to Bright Data page, sorry, we just rebranded. If you go to the Bright Data page, you can just click on the resources and click on this data collector start guide. Everything that we saw today is here with a great explanation almost about everything. If still something is missing, as Anna said, you can feel free to contact us. Thank you.